So if you're looking around trying to figure out which AI stocks to buy, and honestly, even if you haven't asked yourself the specific question, which ones to avoid, I'm going to give you a couple of key ones here that you need to be aware of, some really good AI stocks that you should be in, as well as an entire sector of AI stocks that you probably shouldn't own. And some of these are big, big names. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Please stick to the end because I got a lot to share with you. My goal is real simple. My goal is to help you make more money with stocks, specifically AI and tech stocks, and quite frankly, avoid getting into some ones that are not going to do well for you in the next year, 2, 3, 4 years. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. My name's Austin. Hit that subscribe button. So this article grabbed my attention. Magnificent 7 stocks are having a dreadful year. And there's about 3 or 4 of the stocks that you should avoid on this list. And we're going to jump down and look at them. And there's a real simple reason that I think there are stocks that you should avoid. Okay, so one of them is Amazon. One of them is Alphabet, and one of them is NVIDIA. Now, one that I think is actually a good buy is NVIDIA. Did I say? I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I'm sorry. Avoid Amazon, Apple. No, sorry. Let me get this right. Amazon, Alphabet, Meta are ones that I don't think you should buy. Microsoft, don't think you should buy. NVIDIA is one that I think you should look at getting. Okay. And we're looking specifically in the AI sector. So why is, for example, Amazon maybe a skip, and Alphabet a skip, Meta a skip, and Microsoft a skip? Well, it's interesting. And it may be a part of the equation that you haven't thought of, because here's what it is. All of those companies are essentially hyperscalers. Amazon, not as much, but they really are. They are all kind of in that hyperscaler qualification. They're all chasing, if you will, one way or the other, that retail consumer, you and I. You know, like OpenAI, they're chasing that retail customer. And there's not a barrier for us to move away from, say, using ChatGPT over to Claude or what have you. Okay. And there are other levels and variations of the, of the hyperscaler equation. But another way to think about this is that go back in time to the California gold rush. When gold was discovered in California, there was this mass exodus. Everybody thought they were going to get rich. Okay. You know who really got rich in the California gold rush? It was not the people that went out there to actually find gold. It was the companies and the individuals and the peoples that went out there and sold them the picks, the shovels, the services around it, the hotels, all that, the bars and everything else, the general stores. Because why? They were selling all the people who were there to try to get in the gold rush. In this scenario, they're hyperscalers are the people looking for gold. And they're the people, by the way, that are spending all of the money, all of the massive CapEx expenditures that is going to the companies like Micron, NVIDIA, SK Hynix, Bloom Energy. All that is being spent by Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, Oracle, etc. And all of their stocks are beaten up. They are the one funding the massive AI infrastructure build out, essentially. And it is the companies like Micron, right, that we all know and love, Bloom Energy, Corning, fiber optic cabling inside of the data centers, Broadcom. I mentioned Bloom Energy, which was right here, Broadcom, chips, all that kind of stuff, picks and shovels. When you start to think about what AI companies to invest in, think of my pick and shovel scenario. When the hyperscalers are building these data centers, it is that AI stack that is going into those AI data centers. It is the picks and the shovels, the services, CoreWeave, Nebius, cloud computing, neo cloud computing, things of this nature, right? Neo cloud. Anyway, sorry. Now, I'm not well caffeinated, but you get my point. CoreWeave, Nebius. Those are the companies that are going to massively benefit from this massive multi-trillion-dollar over a period of 3+ years AI build out spend that are going to benefit. It is those companies that you should be looking and being invested in. So what are mine? I think that Broadcom is a good investment. It's been beat up. NVIDIA was on that list. NVIDIA is down. What was the number? Where was that? NVIDIA was down 18%. Still a good buy. Why is NVIDIA down? I looked at AMD, like AMD. AMD's done well. Let's see. AMD, here's AMD in the last 84 days, up 175%. AMD has fared better than NVIDIA. I think what we're seeing playing out with NVIDIA is that NVIDIA, all that massive capital came into NVIDIA, and now it's moved into other companies like Micron, things of that nature. But do I think NVIDIA is a good buy at down 18%? Yeah, if you're looking and buying and holding it, because NVIDIA is going to continue to be the bellwether of the chip market, just like Micron's kind of the bellwether and one that everybody looks at with memory. Another side note, SK Hynix is going to become available to be traded and bought and sold from a stock standpoint here in the United States on July 10th. I'm going to be buying SK Hynix. Why? Because between Micron, SK Hynix, and Samsung, they control 89% of the memory market. Yeah. So SK Hynix is going to be massive. And there's going to be this massive pent-up demand for people that want to get into SK Hynix. So I'm going to be adding SK Hynix to my list. The AI stocks to avoid, the hyperscalers. Part of a lot, 4 or 5 of them are on the Magnificent Seven. They're the one funding CapEx expenditures for all of the massive AI build out. They're going to be, every one of them have gone to, selling stocks and bonds, doing bond raises. Although NVIDIA is doing a bond raise for about, I think it was 40 billion, I think was the number. But I think they're going to use that for operational and capital acquisition. And by the way, they have a ton of cash as well. But it is the hyperscalers that are funding it. Look at the companies that benefit from the CapEx expenditure. Look at the companies that are picks and shovels and services and, part of that AI stack going into the data center build out. Those are the ones you should get into. Let me know your thoughts. That's kind of how I look at it. And that's where I see the value. And I see a 3 to 5 year run here, if not more. There's numbers that say by 2033, we will be spending over $7 trillion on AI build out. Yeah. And people are now starting to question if those hyperscalers are ever going to see a return on that. Well, ultimately trillions of dollars invested. That's now becoming part of the theme. But not a lot of people are talking about this. Not a lot of people are talking about that you should move out of and maybe not own Alphabet and not own Meta and not own Microsoft. Not a lot of people are talking about that. And I think they should be. Not a lot of people are using this kind of gold rush, who got rich, who didn't, who were the real winners. Because I think that really is what it comes down to. It comes down to, which is why I view my job and I take my job very seriously here, in that I think that you need to be looking at owning the companies that essentially are the picks and shovels. That's what it comes down to. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for giving me a few minutes. I'll see you. Bye.